And we're back with some more oxygen not included. And today we're going to be starting on a project we should have done a long time ago, and that would be to put in an industrial brick. We need somewhere to do all our refinement and production, so why not over here, I'm thinking. And we'll make it we'll do an industrial sauna. I haven't done one of those in a while. However, just before we get started on that, a quick catch up on some of the things I've been doing, just in the background in between episodes. I basically finished out our crop area. I didn't have much time to do it the last day, but uh, if you were here for the last one, this is the sleek wheat farm we made. We have this chill loop going through here. It draws chill out of this. Let's just call it our ice box. This ice box is chill to -33, well, nice and chill. But that temperature controls this water to somewhere between 2 and 5 degrees to make sure that all our sleek wheat stays nice and temperature controlled. We also have a second box hooked up to it, but this one feeds into the bristle blossoms, and that keeps their temperature nice and balmy, like 19 degrees or so, just to make sure that they stay temperature controlled. And then finally over here we have our pinch of pepper nuts, and they're at a lovely 50 degrees, and that's actually been temperature controlled by these steam turbines. The heat generated by these steam turbines is keeping them warm. In fact, it's even heating up the polluted water that feeds them. This polluted water takes a hell of a journey. It starts off on the other planet, actually, and comes in as freezing cold, so we have to heat it up a bit. Though honestly, I don't think we have to heat it up that much considering how slow it travels, so I might actually turn off that temperizer later. But yeah, that goes all the way back down to here, and then if you have to pop over to Modilia, yeah, you'll notice there is, where is it? Yep, there's a water pipe all the way going up to the top of the map and fed by this cool slush geyser. And that's how we're running our crops. It's interplanetary watering. Alright, but today we are going to put in an industrial sauna here. It's been a while since I've made one. This is going to require a lot of temperature shift plates. First things first, though, we have to pick where we're going to put in our liquid lock. We're going to have to put in a liquid lock to make sure the temperature stays in and doesn't leak out. And at the same time, well, it does take up a lot of space to stick one in. Let me try something here. We're going to try folding a liquid lock. Normally what you do is you'd put two of these liquid locks one after the other. In fact, I think we've already done one way over here. Yeah, you normally do something like this. But I want to try folding one on top of each other just to see if we can. I mean, might as well try something while we're at it. Once we have a liquid lock to actually get in and out and pressurize the whole place with a hot steamy mess, we're also going to want to clamp a big bunch of steam turbines on top. Now, if you've never seen a hot industrial sauna before, the whole plan here is to basically turn this entire area into a steam room and then stick in all of our hot buildings. So anything to do with refinement, anything that generates heat basically goes in here, and we make it out of steel so it won't overheat. You can even stick in large power transformers, polymer presses. Well, the polymer press is a bit tricky because the plastic does melt. I think it's at about 170 degrees or 159. Ooh, yeah, we would be doubly careful with plastic. You can put in your glass forges as well. Pretty much anything that generates heat, you can throw it in here, make it out of steel, and you should be good. But what we really wanted for is metal refinement. So we're going to put our metal refineries probably in the second layer here. I want to have a floor that's 5 tiles high so that we can stick in some of the 5 tile high pieces of equipment. Once we're able to get in here through this liquid lock, it's going to be sort of a in through here, up and around. Yeah, I know it's wonky, but we're kind of squeezed ourselves in here. If we need to, we can expand this later by ripping out this whole area. I mean, refinement-wise, we have so much uranium, it's ridiculous. We've got, 22.5 tons? Which is enough to keep us running for, well, over 1,000 cycles of nuclear power. So I think we'll be good for a while longer. Oh, don't imprison yourselves. Oh wait, no, they're smart enough to get out. Alright, with that in place, now we just got to stick in mesh tiles everywhere. Now remember, this is going to be a giant steam room, so what we're going to do is give ourselves 4 tile high floors and make sure we put all our equipment in there. So let's just line these up. There we go. And that's the easy part. The hard part is going to be putting in all of the temperature shift plates. Yeah, you know what? I'll wait till the mesh tiles go in, and then we're going to put in a sort of a patchwork temperature shift plate thing for spreading out the temperature in here. Liquid lock is complete. Well, we still have to wall in this section here, but once we wall that section in there, they should be able to walk in through here, up and around and over. I know it's wonky looking, but it does save us space. This thing is a little bit smaller than I normally make them, but I want to make something a little bit more compact for this playthrough. Now, next step. Yep, it's time that we put in the temperature shift plates, and it's going to be a lot of granite ones. Where did we put our granite? Oh, already selected. Perfect. 800 kilos per tile. Now what we're going to want to do here is immediately get rid of that so we can actually see what we're doing. And basically do a sort of something like this. However, we don't want to inject temperature into the top layer. The top layer up here is what you don't want to inject temperature into. This place needs to be cool because it keeps the steam turbines cold. So we're going to have to remove that top section. Then what we do is we, cover the whole place in them. There we go. That's what it's going to look like. Oh, actually, leave that open for now. We want to be able to, we want as many entrances in here until this is built as possible. Right. This could take a few minutes. I'm going to go grab a cup of tea. Back in a bit. That did not take nearly as long as last time. I think it's just because we left it so late and we have such a solid team. Normally you haven't built, something like this beforehand. Yeah, I still love that nuclear reactor. It just looks so, well, perfect. Why could you not reach that? Oh, I'm going to have to move you back one tile, aren't I? Yeah, 1 second. Oh, and by not reach that, I mean that last tile there. I want this to be able to provide the dirt so our farmer doesn't have to keep running back and forth like that. That's just a waste of good resources. That farmers are best. Before we get too distracted renovating this place, I maybe made a few changes over here to make the pinch pepper nuts just a little bit easier to fertilize. This auto sweeper will take care of it. This auto sweeper will take care of over here. And the great thing about crystal blossoms is they just grow. You don't actually have to do anything. Harvest, that's it. But back here, we need to vacuum this whole place out. We can't have the oxygen in here or it'll gum up the steam turbines at the top. So we're going to put in a whole range of gas pumps and then power them all. Thankfully, we have nuclear power, so we don't care about power requirements. In fact, how much power are we drawing right now? 5.32 kilowatts. That's, goes up to 6, 8. I think we have about 16 kilowatts or something like that. I don't know. We're well inside capacity. In fact, let's go grab a look at the colony reports. Let's look at the colony summary. I don't think I've looked at this since we started, so we should get, well, a lot of things getting completed. I think there's a bunch of tasks. Yeah, knocked it out. I haven't done an achievement run in a long time, actually. That might be something to look forward to. No, not yet. Not until they finish at least this patch. Oh, dear Lord. Come on. Yeah, perfect. All right. Average power produced. There's where the nuclear reactor kicked in. There is probably where we experienced some issues, and yeah, we've been plain sailing since. Average power wasted. Yeah, we have more than enough power. We're not going to need any more. All right then, let's fill this entire area full of gas pumps. There are more than one. There's several ways you can vacuum out an area. You can use mini gas pumps and put lots of them everywhere. You can do all sorts of things. But you know what? Brute force and ignorance. If brute force and ignorance wasn't your last resort, you obviously didn't use enough brute force and ignorance. Since we're just going to throw down a bunch of large gas pumps, we're going to hook them up directly to our power spine, and then we're just going to rip gas out of here at great speeds. What are we up to? We're cycle 530. We're about to hit cycle 535. All right, we've hit cycle 535. We're just starting to get in the infrastructure necessary. Let's see how long it takes to vacuum out this entire room. I'm going to guess... I'm going to go with 4 cycles. Yeah, I'll go with 4. So 539. Remember, we're including how long it takes them to actually build it as well and get all the infrastructure in place. So, make your bets. It's might take them longer. Like, depends how many cycles it takes before they put in that last piece of piping and power cabling. This little entryway system is definitely slowing down their progress. Maybe we should have left the walls off a little tad longer. That might have made things a little bit simpler for them. I have arranged for them to have a little door down here. That should hopefully allow them to get in faster. Once this is all completed, we can lock the door and wall them in and all that. But that should hopefully allow them to build this just that tiny tad faster. That's it. They're all active now. Perfect. In that case, we can lock that door. And we can brick it off. Done. Now let's see how long it takes it to actually vacuum out the rest of it. What did I say? 539? Yeah, it could be tight. Well, I was miles off. Cycle 537, and it's actually early into cycle 537. All right, miles off. Hope one of you got it. And done. Now what we got to do is clear the place out. First, though, I'm going to wait until those pipes clear. I've done it before, but I've deconstructed stuff so fast, I've broken a pipe that still had gas in it. Not going to make that mistake again, or a third time, whatever. All right, let's strip this out, and then we have to warm it up. The hard part, that's really the hard part about this, is all of these tiles are going to be about 20-something degrees, and we need to heat these up to above boiling point. Otherwise, any water we pour in here, or any steam we pour in here, will eventually just condense and drop to the bottom. We need this whole place to be a hot steam room. But I think I know how we can heat this place up fairly quick. We can queue up a big sweep command here, but we're going to start filling this place with water. I have not hooked up the steam turbines just yet. No need to do that. We just want to heat the place up. Any cooling we strap on top would be a waste just now. I'm thinking... Oh, actually, yes, we have salt water over here. This salt water is actually pretty hot. Maybe we should grab a bunch of that, because the salt water comes in at ADC. Let me just have a quick check over... Where is it? Over here. Oh, we have a massive pool of this. Yeah, we'll grab a whole bunch of that, and we'll line the bottom of our tank with that. We're going to want about 100 kilos of steam pressure in this room. To figure out how do we get the pressure in here up to, well, 100 kilos per tile, we'll have to, well, do a quick drag select like this, and you can see this whole room is about, say, 500 tiles. Now, I know we're missing some bits here on the edges, but 500 tiles at 100 kilos, that means we need to put in about 50 tons of water in here to start. Saunas are a little bit, yeah, they're fun. We might just reduce that to, say, 50 kilos. That means we'd only need about 25 tiles of water, which means we just have to fill the bottom of this with water, and then once we boil it, this whole room will be about at 50 kilos per tile. That should be sufficient. However, this is still going to take a long time. But, you know, brute force and ignorance, I have an idea. It's not exactly subtle, but this does allow us to transfer an awful lot of water really quickly. Nothing like a little bit of duplicate labour. There is a little bit of a price to moving all this hot water about the place, namely an awful lot of scaldings. This salt water tank is at the back of our base and not protected by Atmo suits. But it's okay. A few mild scaldings for the greater good is all in a day's work for a duplicant, is it not? It's only a few minor injuries. I'll tell you what, we'll put them together a jukebox at the end of this to make up for all of this. This is, even I feel a little bit bad about that. And I've played RimWorld. Alright, let's finish this off. I think we've got almost enough water in here, though we are going to lose some of the mass because we're going to end up with some salt when this transfers into steam. And I have hooked up a second water source from, where is it? Yes, over here. So this water source is coming from all the way over here. We have a hot water geyser over this side, and we've got 90-degree water we can pour in. So that should help top this up just a little bit more. But the next step is, how do we turn all of this into steam? Well, I'm glad you asked. First, we'll just clear out some of the remaining gunk that was in there. The last time I made one of these, we just stuck in metal refineries and we started running our cooling through the pools of water until it eventually turned into steam. But this time I'm thinking, we just throw down a reactor. Nuclear reactor, right there. Problem solved. That will generate us loads and loads of heat. Of course, there'll be loads of radiation, and we got to worry about a few other things, but I'm figuring can't be that bad, right? Probably, yeah, this will be fine. Using a nuclear reactor to heat up a space seems perfectly reasonable and oxygen not included. There we go. Perfect. Now, this will, of course, radiate the place a little bit, but we shouldn't really need to go in there, except to refuel it with enriched uranium. And it already has, 170 odd kilos in there. It should be fine. That's 17 days worth of operation, though they will fuel it up a little bit before that. All we got to do is let this build up enough of a head of steam that it can actually heat up the whole section. You'll see the steam is actually being created, but it just goes out, runs into tiles that are cooler than steamed. Steam forms. It touches tiles that are less than 100 degrees, and then they exchange temperature, and all the steam instantly turns back into water and drops back down. And that just keeps going on and on and on as it slowly spreads out, heating up the whole area. Now, the one thing we do have to be careful of here is nuclear reactors can overpressurize if you have more than 100 kilos of steam around them. So if there's more than 100 kilos of steam, that reactor will pop. That would be unfortunate. We would prefer for that not to happen. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let's just have a quick one over what I've done here. This is some super specialized sleet wheat, which I didn't want to turn into food, but I didn't... You see, we've opted to store our food in an inaccessible area, so all of our seeds get stored in here. So what I have done is I've turned off seed storage for sleet wheat, and instead I store our sleet wheat down here. This way, whenever any specialized grains show up that need to be analysed, they can get analysed in this section, and then when we're done, I can maybe turn this on and dump them all into the storage section down here. The problem with sleet wheat grains is they go off. All the other seeds we don't care about, it's just the sleet wheat grains go off, so we want to analyse them, and then if we find the ones we want, we keep them by, planting them somewhere where they won't cause any inconvenience. While they're planted, they can't go off, so the seeds are perfectly safe. As well as that, you have to disable the hydroponics tiles. Once you disable if you don't disable them, your pawns will keep coming along and feeding them dirt. And they'll use the dirt even though they have no water to go with it and no chill to go with it. It's just an annoyance. Alright, but let's just wait until we've managed to turn this room into, well, a proper industrial sauna room. And just about preheated. I remember last time we did this, it took ages. This time around, not a bother. Look at that. The whole place is almost complete. Well, that corner over there will take a few minutes, and that oil has already hit 100. Yeah, I think we give this another quart of recycling. I think the whole room should be about 150 C. At that point, we can start building in our industrial sauna. One thing to note about these is the radiation from these is actually very well contained, even just by one tile of igneous rock. I mean, outside it, you're looking at 30 to 60 rads. It's not great, but you notice where there's no tiles here, this radiation extends much, much further. It's just the moment it hits tiles, it really decreases the power. But I think we got enough heat in there. There's 100. It'll be 170 at the bottom. It's only 110 at the top, so it's... Yeah, well, it'll take a while to even out. We do have those temperature shift plates in there to even things. But what we'll do is we'll deconstruct the reactor. Whoever goes in there might get a little bit of a tan, but that's fine. We have a bunch of rad pills on the side, so whoever goes in there will be totally chowing down on some rad pills afterwards. Ooh, Chief Multi-Hat is going to get a little bit toasty. Let's see what their rad exposure looks like. Absorb dose. What? That was nothing. You went in there and completely deconstructed a reactor, and look at that, irradiation instantly gone. Nice. Oh, and when they pick up the nuclear waste, one possible downside is they might drop it in a liquid lock. No, it's fine. Then all we got to do is mop up the mess left behind. That's not too radioactive, is it? Okay, it's a little radioactive, but they'll be grand. We'll get them a jukebox. They'll be singing and dancing in no time at all. First thing we want to stick in here is refinement, metal refinement. So far, we've been sort of getting by with this jerry rig setup down here, which has been pulling cold water from this section, and yeah, it's a mess. Here, though, we can have it perfectly sustainable, and it will last forever. So, metal refinement, make it out of ceramic, so it's got the plus 200 overheat bonus. That means it won't overheat until it hits 275. We'll chuck that down there, and let me see where we're going to put the pipes. I think that's fine. We're going to use radiant pipes, and this is just the joy of a sauna. We just, the very first output pipe is a radiant pipe. The whole thing is just radiant the whole way around. Anything going through that will just, dispel its heat into the surrounding atmosphere, which will then get sucked up by the steam turbines. I think that's a decent start. In fact, we're going to want to run power across there as well. Ooh, should we put in decor items? That might be an idea. No, we don't even have... Oh, I think we have an artist somewhere. But we'll get this one started first, and then we're going to get it to refine a bunch of gold, because that's the first thing we're going to need so that we can make more pipes. And we might want to hook these up as well. We'll just hook up one steam turbine for now, and then we want to fill that metal refinery with a coolant. I'm thinking petroleum would be our best bet. We do have... Yeah, we've got petroleum feeding this plastic press over here, which I think, you know what, we can turn that off for now. We can, actually, we might leave the plastic press out. It's just, it produces carbon dioxide and plastic, and we don't really need that much more. Oh, actually, we do want a transport grid. Never mind, we'll leave the plastic there for now. But the petroleum, we have a... Oh my god, I forgot how far down it was. Yeah, we have a tank of it here, so we have plenty of petroleum. We're going to grab all of that, well, 800 kilos of that, and we're going to chuck it into our metal refinery. Ooh, let me see about running the piping somehow. We have all the petroleum flowing up here, and it's now going to get stuck into this. Now, this always comes up, why don't we put on an extra tank of petroleum or mess around with this? I really don't see the point. You can stick in about 800 kilos in this, and this is enough for 2 operations. And what's going to limit you here is how quickly the liquid goes around the loop. Because what will happen is your duplicates are going to get so fast at it as their skill goes up that it takes less and less time for them to refine the metal. And it's actually a power saving as well at the same time. So normally I just stick in 800 kilos and then I just put in multiple ones. That way if you've got multiple ones, who cares, you know? It doesn't matter if one of them's busy or not, or if it hasn't filled up or not. It just makes things a little bit more, well... Also, you can spread things out, so you can have one doing copper, one doing gold, one doing steel, one doing iron. I just find it more convenient that way, though your mileage may vary. Then, once we've got that installed, deconstruct that liquid bridge. We don't want to put any more petroleum in there. This thing's got a nice 800 kilos of petroleum, and I think what we'll do is we'll stick in gold beside this one. Yeah, we'll go with gold to start, because gold is going to be very useful for us to, well, for all of the piping we're going to be sticking in here. We'll just queue up 99 gold amalgam here, and... let's get someone over here to work this. I want to actually see this in action. And done. Come on, hurry up. Alright, so that should spit out the petroleum up here. The petroleum should go... How hot are you? 115? Well, that's not really that hot yet. We'll wait until a couple of rotations go through here. I have set this temperature sensor up here to only activate if the temperature goes above 150. Well, for now, we're going to have to do a little bit of experimenting around. These things are always a little bit... Well, I wouldn't want to say finicky, but you want to customize. You don't want to just have a one-size-fits-all policy for these almost. Now, the lead, we use lead wiring in here so far, so we don't want the temperature in here to go above 327 degrees, because if it does, it will start melting all the wiring. That would be bad. And this stuff may just come out hot enough to do that. What are we looking at? Still, come on, 100 degrees. Hurry up, hurry up. We may have expanded that on just a little bit. I also had to remove the ladder just to squeeze in the extra refinery. If I hadn't known how tight this was going to be, I probably would have moved that refinery back a bit and left in the fire pole. You know what? I think we can live without the fire pole. It's once they're inside, it's actually quite a small area they have to cover anyway. All right, we have gold in there. We have, oh, get out of the way, Zachary. We have copper ore in that one. This one holds iron ore so that we can make iron. This one holds lime and refined carbon. We are going to use this to exclusively make steel. And in fact, let's just cue that up to there. That's all of your base materials. Now, if we get any more things like, say, cobalt or things like that, we'll put them all over on this side, and maybe wolframite or tungsten. We're probably going to end up converting most of those to their refined material types. But I usually like to have one dedicated steel and one dedicated iron area. Okay, but we do have to put in... Oh, damn it, I forgot to limit you, didn't I? We need to put in one area over here where we put in an aqua tuner so that we can cool down these tanks. Oh, and before we put in the aqua tuner, I know this is probably going to go up in the comments. Why don't we use this nuclear waste because of its perfect specific heat capacity? Why don't we use that as a coolant for the metal refineries? It's because once a day it will get spit out of the refineries. The refineries would just spit it out on the ground. Actually, not quite accurate. I haven't tested it, but I know that happens if it's in an aqua tuner or a liquid tank. So I'm pretty sure if it happens in both of those, it's also going to happen in a metal refinery, which means we'd have to keep putting it back in, or I don't know. It seems like a complication. Considering petroleum works and we've used it plenty of times before, there's no need to mess about. Okay, but over here, yes, aqua tuner to cool down this area. The whole purpose of this aqua tuner is just to keep the steam turbines from overheating. We probably could have left them chill there for a while longer with that ice biome strapped on top, but, you know, don't want to stress our luck. Because I'll obviously forget and then come back and find the whole thing shut down and everything burning out. Alright, this is... Okay, how do I explain all of this without seeming... You know what? Show don't tell. Aqua tuner. This provides all the cooling for the polluted water passing through here. Now, I think we have enough. That whole loop is filled. We can deconstruct that. So that goes around here, cools the entire top part. Keeps those steam turbines from overheating. Any heat it generates is generated here, and then the liquid from this sort of flows down here, and some of it will plop down this side and provide cooling so that the aqua tuner doesn't end up overheating this section. Then we have all of our metal refineries down here. This one's set to gold amalgam, this one's doing a lot of copper, this one's doing a lot of iron, and this one is forever doing steel, of which we can make a whole load. We have what? We have 6.6 tons of lime. I'm going to make some more refined carbon in a minute. Anyway, they go up here and they provide, well, actually this one's perfect because this one produces very hot petroleum. That's 266 C petroleum coming out, going up here, dumping its heat off, and then it comes back down. It's about 150, 160 by the time it gets back in. At the same time, it goes up here and overheats this, which goes above 150, which causes the steam turbine to activate. And then that steam turbine takes all its cooling and spits it out here, and a bunch of it drops down onto this diamond plate right here where it evaporates and basically provides cooling. It's 95C water dropping down onto this section, which provides cooling for here, which means the whole thing doesn't overheat. And the same over here, and the same over here, and the same over here. All of them just provide cooling to each other. If it gets a little bit too hot in one section, the other areas can take up the slack. And that's it. The cooling loop passing through here is set to go if it goes above 20, which shouldn't happen because there's an ice biome sitting on top of it. And boom! Now we have all of our metal refinement done in one section, and we can run 4 of them continuously. In fact, this even generates us a little bit of power, you can see. It's plugged into our main grid. But we do need to chuck in a few other things here, and we do have some space. So what was that thing about refined carbon again? Oh, thank God, we finally found some exuberant sleet wheat. We have been growing sleet wheat for I don't know how many cycles now, and we never got the exuberant variant. Where is it? Yeah, we got blooming, leafy, bountiful, all of those other ones, but we never got exuberant. That means, yeah, we should probably make a quick change here. We're going to tell the cooks to stop cooking the specialized variant or the super specialized variant. It requires a temperature between 15 to 20 C, which honestly, once you've got one of these setups done, like this is 18 C all along here, so we could actually run the super specialized variant if we want. I mean, it's not as good as the exuberant, but it can be done. In fact, the best thing about exuberant and bristle blossoms, if you can get your hands on them, exuberant requires darkness, which means if we were to say go over here and let's say sleet wheat, where is the exuberant? You notice there it has a requirement for darkness down there. I can't really get it and show it to you, but darkness means if you get that on bristle blossoms, they no longer require light to grow. Which, yes, that's even more of a bonus. You can grow bristle blossoms in the dark. Alright, but we'll come back to doing our farming later. What we really need to get done is, yes, industrial sauna. And there we have the most industrious of industrial saunas. Everything is pretty much going, except for, actually the glass forge is not going, but everything else is pretty much rotating dumping heat. Oh, there goes the glass forge as well. We've got this one over here producing ceramic forever. This one's going to produce some extra refined carbon to help us with our steel issues, because we need more refined carbon to keep up with the 6 tons of lime we've got. We actually don't have enough iron, but we're mass producing iron ore as well. That's fine, the iron ore will catch up. And glass-wise, we might as well throw some of that together, though actually infinite glass might be a tad much. Let's just make that 99. We'll probably put some solar panels on some planet somewhere. Now this makes me think, if, like I was just thinking, after we put in that reactor there, just making an industrial sauna with a reactor at the core would be, well, that would be pretty damn cool if you think about it. As well as that you'd have the radiation to work with, and inside there you could also stick your labs. So we could make, say, a material study terminal, but just make it out of steel. You could also make your diamond press, all the stuff that requires access to rad bolts. I think, yeah, okay, you'd have to completely redo your base, though. I mean, you couldn't go out in atmosuit docks. You'd need to have everyone going out in rad suits instead, because there's going to be so much radiation in this industrial area. Trying to have people go in and change would be impossible. I mean, look at the amount of people we have in here already. We need a massive dock for it. I think, no, you design it from scratch to make an industrial sauna that has a nuclear reactor at its core. And then you're going to need about, you're going to need a minimum of 9 steam turbines to take care of the reactor alone. And then another steam turbine for every one of the metal refineries you're going to be running. So you're looking at about 11. And then one maybe for the aquatuner, so about 12. Oh, wow. That's, why is that set so low? Oh my god, 1 second. There we go. So you'd probably need about 12 steam turbines strapped on top. You might want to do some sort of layered system, sort of like this. But you could do it, and then you'd have all of that radiation to play with, and all of the heat dealt with at the same time. Maybe next time. Not this run. Maybe not this run, but maybe next time. While playing around with this Sweet Wheat, the exuberant variant, I found a bug. I was going to sweep them into this refrigerator over here. However, there is a bug that happens with Sweet Wheat grain of, mutant strains, it seems. If you grab, say, the Sweet Wheat grain, this is the exuberant variant, and we say, compost it. Well, it pops out of there, and it's like, yeah, it's now a compost errand. However, if we click on it there and cancel the compost errand, it comes back as a normal Sweet Wheat grain. It is no longer a mutant anymore. Yeah, I've managed to destroy all our mutant Sweet Wheat grain. Yep, it's all gone now. All of the exuberant grains that I spent so long acquiring have now been just turned back into regular grains. I'm reloading. No way, I'm reloading. I don't normally reload, but you know what? That's a bug that hurt. Because we've got to wait until we hit exuberant grain again, and that could take so many cycles. I just wanted to get farming sorted. So apologies, I am going to do a reload. I am save scumming. Only lost a couple of cycles of progress. That's fine. We rebuilt the glass forge, got everything humming again. Industry is all up and running. Then what we did was we went down here and we found the exuberant seeds, and we've locked them behind this door. The reason we're locking them all in here is we don't want them cooked up. And we still want to cook Sweet Wheat at the moment, but we don't want to cook up those particular grains. This is one of the annoyances of the peculiar plants for Sweet Wheat specifically. All the rest of them, you have no chance of cooking up the seeds. Well, except for maybe the tofu stuff, but, you know, who uses nosh bean? Very few people are going to be using nosh beans. All right, we'll put that back to berry sludge forever. At the same time, something concerning is happening. I'm not seeing any pinch of peppernut mutations. 0. We have, say, how many seeds here? We have a lot of seeds, and we've had more than enough chance that we should have got a mutation yet. Yet, absolutely 0. Not a single mutation has shown up. You can click on the plant to see what available mutations you've encountered so far, and for pincher peppernuts, there are none. Same, well, sleep wheat, you can see all the different options we have. We've got nothing for nosh bean because we haven't actually done that one, but, you know, bristle blossoms, we can see all those ones. Even the ones that we've currently got locked away, that we don't have access to, you can still see the species showing up here, even though we can't plant them. Also, I've tested, and you definitely arbor acorns or arbor trees, you can't mutate them. I've tried, there's just no way to mutate them at all. And you can't mutate the other plants, the Venus flytrap ones, the ones that eat critters, you can't mutate those either. So trees and critter traps, or Venus flytraps, you can't mutate. Pinch of peppernuts? Maybe I'm wrong, but so far, nothing. I mean, there are 980 rads to max out your mutation chances, which we're not close to, but in all fairness, the Sweet Wheat here goes up to 1220, and it's got about the same amount of radiation exposure as these ones over here. So maybe you can't mutate pinch of peppernuts. That's a little bit unfortunate. I was really hoping to mutate a bunch of those. But for now, let's see, is there anything else we want to cram in here? And the final piece de la resistance, the rock crusher, just because we've completely forgotten about it. That will crush up all poke shells, egg shells, fossils, all that stuff. We'll turn that all into lime so we can have even more lime for more steel. Dear Lord, how much lime do we have? 5.9. We have so much lime. It's going to take an enormous amount of... We're going to need an enormous amount of refined carbon just to make all this steel. But I think that's enough progress for today. We've got ourselves our industrial brick up and running. Our industrial sauna, I should say. At the same time, we have gotten our hands on some exuberant sleet wheat, but I would like maybe another 18 pieces. We've got our 18 pieces locked away down below, so we can keep those for now. Oh, actually, I should probably demonstrate what I do when we have 18 locked away safely. Then what we do is we set this over here to... was it sleet wheat? And that will basically mean our people will come down and they'll strip all the... Oh... They'll strip all the sleet wheat out of these fridges and they dump it into a place where we can't access it. And that place where we can't access it is over here. And then, oh yeah, I know there's some sleet wheat in there that hasn't been analysed, but that stuff was, no, it was one of the ones we didn't want. So once we analysed a couple of them, I'm like, you know what, we can just dump them all out of there. Everyone comes along, they drop off the sleet wheat here, and it's nicely hidden out of view. Our next plan I think is going to be the Radbolt engine. I want to go to space with radiation. So I want to come up here and we're going to set up our little Radbolt generators to generate lots and lots of Radbolts so we can fill up this engine. It takes 4,800 Radbolts to charge this sucker, but when it does launch, it seems you can harvest some of the Radbolts. It gives off a bunch of fallout and things that you can harvest. We'll have to start playing around with that. But I think I have an idea about how to charge this reliably. There's been a lot of changes to the Radbolt generator since it was first introduced. So this Radbolt generator, it used to be you could fire Radbolts at blocks and generate lots of radiation that way and then end up with an infinitely sustainable reaction. But they seem to have patched that. I don't know when exactly they did it, but no longer does the infinite Radbolt generation technique work. But I think I have an idea as how we can generate more than sufficient radiation. Anyway, I'm going to cut this out here. I hope you enjoyed and good luck.